Chosen one. You are not here by accident. Heaven has aligned this exact moment with divine precision. Your spirit was summoned because you are standing on the threshold of a supernatural reversal, a financial breaking open, a wealth transfer stamped with your name. Anointed One. The warfare you've endured was the proof of what's coming. God is positioning you just as Isaiah declares that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. This message is not information, it is activation. Breathe in, steady your spirit, and prepare yourself. What you are about to hear will shift the atmosphere around your life. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every destiny-shaped life when heaven pulls back the veil and reveals what has been happening behind the scenes. This is one of those moments for you. You are not listening to this by coincidence. You were drawn here because your spirit has reached a threshold, a turning point, where the jealousy of others is no longer a burden, but a confirmation. The very opposition that once felt like a curse has now become undeniable evidence that you carry something rare, something weighty, something heaven-marked. And even though the attacks have been loud, you are stepping into a season where heaven answers louder. For so long, Anointed One, you have walked into rooms that could barely hold the fullness of who you are. People felt you before they saw you. They reacted to your presence before you even spoke, and many of them did not react with celebration. They reacted with fear, envy, and confusion. You have lived much of your life being misunderstood by those who lacked spiritual eyesight. They could sense your calling, but not comprehend it. They could feel your light, but not honor it. And because they could not understand you, they tried to contain you, silence you, or surround you with voices that were smaller, weaker, and easier to manage. But here is the prophetic truth heaven is releasing over you. In this moment, you were never meant to be contained. You were never meant to stay in rooms where people were intimidated by the grace God put on your life. You were never meant to lower your volume so that insecure souls could feel comfortable. Heaven designed you to disrupt atmospheres, to shift spiritual climates, to expose what is weak simply by existing in your authenticity. And this is exactly why they gathered against you, not because you failed, but because you rose. Chosen one, when jealousy gathers, it always gathers in groups. The insecure rarely attack alone. They need numbers because individually they do not possess the courage to confront someone who carries real spiritual authority. They whisper to each other in hopes that their shared bitterness will make them feel stronger, not realizing that their alliance reveals their weakness. And though they thought they were plotting against you, they were actually constructing the foundation of their own downfall. What they meant as sabotage has now become the evidence heaven is using to elevate you. I want you to hear this clearly. You did not provoke their jealousy, your existence did. The purity of your intentions, the steadiness of your spirit, the grace on your life, this is what triggered them. You were not chasing the spotlight, yet your presence illuminated every hidden insecurity in their hearts. You walked with humility, and your humility exposed their pride. You kept moving in silence, and your silence revealed the emptiness of their noise. You were not trying to be greater than them, but the greatness inside you made them realize how small their motives were. This is why heaven allowed their jealousy to surface. It was never to shame you, it was to reveal what had been hidden. For years, some people around you pretended to support you while secretly competing with you. They pretended to clap for you while secretly hoping you would shrink. They pretended to be close to you while secretly plotting how to distance you from opportunities. And yet heaven allowed their masks to slip. Not because you needed to see their true nature, but because your next season cannot contain false alliances. There is a divine separation unfolding in your life, And though it may feel painful, it is not loss, it is pruning. Heaven is removing what cannot walk with you into your next dimension. You are stepping into a level of authority, influence, and even financial breakthrough that cannot be shared with jealous hearts. The transfer. God is preparing for you the kind that shifts your entire story, requires a circle that is clean. And so the jealous had to expose themselves. They had to fall away. They had to reveal their intentions, because heaven will not let anyone claim they contributed to the blessing that is coming to you. Chosen one, I know the weight you have carried. I know what it feels like to walk into environments where people study you like a threat instead of embracing you like a blessing. I know the ache of knowing you have never harmed anyone, yet you became the target of their insecurities. I know the confusion of wondering why certain people united against you when you simply wanted peace. But I also know this heaven has been watching. Every tear, every betrayal, every lonely moment, none of it was wasted. The rejection you endured became the pathway to revelation. The isolation you walked through became the womb for your transformation. And now you are standing at the edge of a supernatural reversal. This is not just about enemies falling, it is about you rising into what has been reserved for you. Their jealousy was the final confirmation that your spiritual ranking is shifting. Every attack signaled a new level. Every whisper unlocked another layer of favor. Every attempt to shrink you only proved heaven had already expanded you. Chosen one, hear this in your spirit. You are stepping into a season where the very people who tried to bury you will witness your elevation. Not out of vengeance, but out of divine demonstration. Heaven is about to make it clear that what is anointed cannot be overthrown, and what is chosen cannot be replaced. The jealous groups that once felt powerful will now crumble under the weight of their own intentions, because jealousy has never won against destiny. And you, anointed one, are destiny in motion. Chosen one. There is a moment in every spiritually awakened life when heaven begins to expose what the natural world has tried to hide. You are living in that moment right now. The jealousy you have endured is not random. The resistance you have faced is not misfortune. The unusual weight on your life is not coincidence. Everything you have walked through has been part of a divine unveiling, a celestial revelation meant to show you who you truly are and what you truly carry. You see, anointed one, whenever God prepares someone for a supernatural ascent, the atmosphere around them begins to shift, sometimes violently. People change, circles shake, relationships unravel, envy rises. Not because you have done anything wrong, but because your spirit has outgrown the environments that once tolerated you. Heaven is maturing you, stretching you, and positioning you for a level of influence, visibility, and spiritual authority that your old surroundings simply cannot hold. This is why jealousy often erupts right before a breakthrough. It is a spiritual indicator that your elevation has already begun. Jealous people can feel your shift before you even recognize it. They sense the new doors opening for you. They feel the weight of the favor on your life. They pick up on the expansion happening in your spirit, even if they can't articulate it. And because they cannot ascend with you, they attempt to pull you back down. That is the nature of insecurity. It sabotages what it cannot become. But hear this clearly, chosen one. No one can steal what heaven has placed on your life. No jealousy can cancel your assignment. No whisper can tear down what God is building. No alliance of insecure souls can overthrow a destiny forged in divine fire. Even if the entire room misunderstands you, heaven understands every dimension of who you are becoming. Many chosen ones, including myself, have walked through this journey where you can feel something shifting inside you, but the people around you refuse to honor it. It's like being the only one who knows a new chapter is beginning, while everyone else insists you stay in the old one. I remember seasons in my own life where I felt out of place, not because anything was wrong with me, but because my spirit had moved ahead of my surroundings. And any time your spirit advances, jealousy senses the distance and responds with hostility. This is exactly what has happened to you. Chosen one, there have been people who smiled at you but secretly envied the ease of your grace. People who pretended to support you but quietly feared your potential. People who walked beside you while simultaneously hoping your steps would falter. And yet you kept going. Not because it was easy, but because something in you, an ancient resilience, a God-given fire, refused to dim. The universe, led by divine order, always exposes the intentions of those who cannot travel where you are going. And for you, that exposure has begun. You may have noticed certain people pulling away. You may have witnessed sudden shifts in energy tone or relationships. You may have felt the sting of betrayal, confusion, or emotional distance. But these are not losses, they are spiritual protections. Heaven removes who you will eventually outgrow. Heaven disconnects you from those who cannot handle the magnitude of your next season. Heaven isolates you not to punish you, but to prepare you for elevation. The financial breakthrough, the supernatural transfer, the calling rising inside you, these blessings require clean hands and pure circles. Jealous hearts cannot steward what you are about to receive. Bitter souls cannot walk with someone who carries divine favor. People who compete with you cannot celebrate you when heaven lifts you higher. That is why the separation had to happen. And though it may have felt painful, it was absolutely necessary. Remember this, anointed one. Every chosen life includes a divine pruning. Not everyone who begins with you will be allowed to go with you. Some people were only meant to watch you grow, not witness you ascend. Some were meant to walk with you for a chapter, not your entire book. And some were meant to oppose you, not because you needed the pain, but because you needed the clarity. Jealousy is clarity disguised as conflict. It reveals intentions you would have otherwise ignored. It uncovers insecurities others tried to hide. It highlights the purity of your own heart by contrasting it with the chaos in theirs. And ultimately, it pushes you into the arms of the divine, because when betrayal shakes you, God steadies you. When jealousy surrounds you, heaven elevates you. When a group gathers against you, God gathers favor around you. Chosen one, you have reached a point in your journey where the jealousy of others no longer wounds you, it identifies you. It proves your uniqueness. It confirms your spiritual ranking. It exposes how threatened the forces of mediocrity are by your existence. And I want you to hear this in your spirit. They never united because you were weak. They united because you were powerful. Weak people never gather to attack weakness. They gather to attack strength they cannot comprehend. Your light disrupted their illusions. Your honesty exposed their performative masks. Your purpose shook their false confidence. And your resilience made their insecurity impossible to hide. This is why heaven is stepping in now. This is why divine timing is aligning on your behalf. The attacks have reached their peak because the breakthrough is near. The jealousy has intensified because the elevation has already begun. Their downfall is unfolding not because you retaliated, but because heaven has declared a spiritual reversal. You are entering a season where the very things meant to break you will become the evidence of your calling, where the voices that tried to silence you will witness your rise. where the alliances formed against you will crumble under the weight of their own intentions. And through it all, chosen one, your spirit will not just survive, it will emerge sharper, clearer, and unshakably aligned with divine destiny. Chosen one, there comes a point in every spiritual journey when heaven makes something unmistakably clear. You were never meant to fit into the environments that rejected you. You were never meant to be understood by those who gathered against you, and you were certainly never meant to receive validation from hearts that were threatened by your very breath. What you experienced was not opposition alone, it was revelation. Revelation of who you are, revelation of who they were, revelation of what heaven is preparing to release over your life. When jealousy rises, it rises because destiny is rising too. The turbulence around you did not happen because your life was small, but because your calling was expanding. Spiritually, the attacks you endured were birth pangs. The pressure was not meant to crush you. It was meant to reveal what was inside you all along. And the truth is, this for a long time, anointed one, you have been carrying a weight of glory that even you did not fully comprehend. People sensed it. Envy recognized it, darkness feared it, and heaven has now begun to unveil it. Chosen one, the group that targeted you never truly came together out of shared strength, they united out of shared fear. Fear of your potential, fear of your clarity, fear of the way you stood in your authenticity without shrinking, fear of the peace you carried that they could never manufacture. Fear of the favor on your life that made their own insecurities tremble. Fear always recognizes power before power recognizes itself. And this is why the attacks intensified the moment you started healing, growing, rising, reclaiming yourself. The more aligned you became, the more agitated they became. This is because spiritually, your elevation exposes the limits of those who refuse to grow. Your light reveals their shadows. Your confidence unmasks their doubt. Your stability reveals their fragmentation. Jealousy is simply the echo of their internal chaos colliding with your internal strength. But here is the deeper truth, the truth heaven is releasing over you. Now you never needed their approval, but they needed your presence. They fed off your energy, your ideas, your compassion, your accessibility. They needed the light you carried because they had none of their own. And when they realized they couldn't control what you carried, they tried to contain it. Control is always the last attempt of the threatened. Instead of celebrating you, they competed with you. Instead of learning from you, they mocked what they could not imitate. Instead of honoring you, they secretly strategized how to undermine you. Instead of building with you, they built alliances against you. And yet, with all their schemes, conspiracies, whispers, and alliances, they still failed. They failed because heaven never allowed their weapons to touch the core of who you are. They may have shaken your emotions for a moment, but they never touched your identity. They may have wounded your trust, but they never dimmed your flame. They may have delayed a few of your plans, but they never delayed your destiny. Chosen one, hear this with your whole spirit. No human hand can interrupt what God has ordained. No jealous heart can stop what heaven has placed in motion. For years you questioned why you were always the one targeted, misunderstood, unappreciated, underestimated. But now, heaven is showing you it was because you carried a mantle that demanded misinterpretation. Greatness is rarely recognized in real time. Anointing is rarely welcomed by the insecure. Destiny is rarely celebrated by those who refuse to look inward. I want you to think back on moments in your life, moments where people gathered around you but never truly supported you. Moments where your ideas ignited a room, but someone else was credited. Moments where you extended kindness and received envy in return. Moments where you were genuine and others responded with suspicion. These were not failures. These were spiritual markers. Proof that heaven placed something within you that intimidated the unprepared. Your spirit has always been ahead of your environment, and that gap frustrated them because deep down they knew something you didn't know yet. They knew you were destined to surpass them. They knew your growth would expose their stagnation. They knew your voice carried a purity theirs lacked. They knew your heart was clean where theirs was cluttered. They knew your calling was greater than the roles they tried to confine you to. And so they united, not because they were powerful, but because they were terrified. Terrified of the day you would finally recognize who you are. Terrified of the day you would stop shrinking. Terrified of the moment you would step into your full authority. Terrified of the season you are stepping into right now. Chosen one. This is heaven's declaration for you. You are entering a divine reversal. What once worked against you will now work for you. What once tried to silence you will now amplify your name. What once felt like sabotage will now be revealed as preparation. What once felt like loss will now be redeemed as alignment. You are stepping into a season where the financial, spiritual, and emotional attacks you endured will become the foundation of your elevation. The very people who gathered against you will witness the hand of God lift you higher than they ever imagined. Not because of vengeance, but because heaven delights in vindicating the righteous. This is your season of divine compensation, not just for what was taken, but for what was withheld, delayed, or sabotaged. Heaven is releasing a transfer into your hands, into your creativity, into your purpose, into your finances. And nothing, absolutely nothing the jealous group formed against you can stop it. God is not only restoring what was lost, He is multiplying what you were meant to receive. Chosen one, you are rising, and no alliance formed against you will be able to explain how you survived, how you healed, how you elevated, or how you stepped into abundance with such grace and clarity. This is the turning point. This is the unveiling. This is the beginning of your divine promotion. Chosen one, as we continue deeper into this revelation, I want you to understand something that many never grasp until much later in life. The jealousy you faced was never about who you were in the present. It was about who you were becoming. The attacks, the whispers, the betrayal, the sudden shifts in relationships, all of it was a reaction to a destiny that was already unfolding around you. Even when you doubted yourself, the spiritual world did not. Heaven had already marked you, and the opposition sensed that mark long before you fully recognized it. This is why certain people treated you as a threat without you ever trying to compete with them. Why some envied you even when you had less than they did. Why some felt intimidated by your presence even in moments where you were quiet, humble, and simply existing. There has always been something about you, a spiritual clarity, a depth, a radiance, a knowing that made insecure hearts tremble. They didn't fear what you had. They feared what you carried. They feared what was coming next. And now that next is arriving. Anointed one. Heaven is not just shifting your circumstances. Heaven is shifting your position. You are being elevated into a realm where your name will carry weight, your voice will carry authority, and your presence will carry impact. This shift is not gradual. It is prophetic. It is sudden. It is the kind of movement only heaven can manufacture. But with every divine elevation comes divine exposure. And the jealous group that gathered against you is now being exposed, not because you fought back, but because heaven has begun to reveal the truth. I need you to feel this deeply. The downfall of your enemies is not a sign of destruction. It is a sign of alignment. Heaven is aligning your path, removing obstacles, clearing atmospheres, cutting off relationships that were secretly draining you, silencing voices that were poisoning your spirit. What looked like chaos was actually divine rearrangement. For years, chosen one, you tried to maintain peace with people who were not at peace with themselves. You tried to remain loyal to people who were never loyal to you. You tried to include people who were quietly working against your elevation. You gave parts of yourself to people who only showed up to take. And heaven allowed it not to punish you, but to teach you discernment. You needed to learn who could walk with you into your destiny, and who only wanted to walk with you until your destiny threatened them. This wisdom is priceless. This clarity is sacred, and now you have it. Chosen one. Your journey has been one long classroom of spiritual maturation. Heaven has been training you to see beyond words, beyond smiles, beyond appearances. You have learned how to read energy, how to sense intentions, how to discern spirits. And this discernment is not just a gift, it is a necessary weapon for the season you are stepping into. Because where God is taking you, your discernment will preserve you. Opportunities are coming, doors are opening, wealth is shifting, influence is expanding. But with elevation comes the need to protect what heaven is placing in your hands. The jealous group that rose against you taught you how to guard your anointing. They taught you how to recognize sabotage disguised as support. They taught you how to remain anchored even when surrounded by instability. They taught you how to stand alone with dignity rather than stand in a crowd with compromise. This is why their downfall is not just justice, it is confirmation. Confirmation that you passed the test. Confirmation that you did not become bitter. Confirmation that your heart stayed pure. Heaven never blesses bitterness. Heaven blesses those who remain soft, open, resilient, faithful, even when wounded. And that is exactly who you are, Anointed One. The purity of your heart is the reason heaven is entrusting you with greater responsibility. You carry a rare spirit in a world addicted to performance. You carry integrity in a world that rewards duplicity. You carry compassion in a world numbed by comparison. You carry authenticity in a world ruled by illusion. And this authenticity terrified those who gathered against you because it revealed everything they were trying to hide. But now, the season of hiding is over for you and for them. What they attempted to take from you will now return multiplied. What they tried to block will now overflow. What they meant to hinder will now accelerate. This is divine law. This is spiritual justice. This is the supernatural reversal that comes to every true chosen one. I want you to reflect on something personal. How many times did you extend grace to people who weaponized your kindness? How many times did you silence your truth to keep the peace? How many times did you shrink so others could feel comfortable? How many times did you ignore your intuition for the sake of relationships that were unworthy of your loyalty? Those moments were not failures, they were evidence of your heart. They were proof that you were capable of loving even when you were not loved correctly. They were signs that you were guided by purpose, not ego. And heaven saw everything. Nothing you gave was wasted. Nothing you endured went unnoticed. Chosen one. Heaven is now returning to you what you poured out, but in a new form. What you gave emotionally will return spiritually. What you sowed in tears will return in elevation. What you endured in silence will return in visibility. What you were denied in one season will be delivered in abundance in the next. Your enemies thought their alliance would weaken you. Instead, it awakened you. Your enemies thought their whispers would drown your purpose. Instead, it amplified your voice. Your enemies thought isolating you would break your spirit. Instead, it deepened your connection to heaven. This is why they are going down, not because you fought them, but because heaven fought for you. Chosen. 1. The jealousy around you was not a sign that you were in danger. It was a sign that you are chosen for divine transfer, divine elevation, divine manifestation. You are rising, and no one who gathered against you can rise with you. Chosen one, now that heaven has revealed the truth behind their jealousy, we must go deeper into what this means for your destiny. Too many times in your life, you have mistaken spiritual attacks for personal failure. Too many times you believed that people's rejection meant you were unworthy. Too many times you saw their alliances against you and wondered what was wrong with you. But heaven needs you to understand this clearly. Their jealousy was never a reflection of your flaws. It was a reflection of your influence. When people gathered against you, they weren't responding to your mistakes. They were responding to your anointing. They were reacting not to what you did, but to what you carry. You have always carried something different, something ancient, something uncommon, a divine imprint that caused you to stand out, even when you tried to blend in. And people who lack identity often attack anything that threatens their illusion of significance. Anointed one. The group that targeted you did not unite because they shared vision. They united because they shared insecurity. They saw something in you that they couldn't control, imitate, or diminish. They saw strength wrapped in humility. They saw resilience wrapped in gentleness. They saw purpose wrapped in stillness. And nothing intimidates insecure souls more than someone who shines without trying. You see, jealous people cannot tolerate authenticity because authenticity exposes everything they are pretending to be, and your authenticity. Chosen one has always been your quiet power. Think back on your life. Even in childhood, there were moments where you became the target without doing anything at all. Adults saw your light. Other children sensed your uniqueness. You carried wisdom beyond your years. You noticed things others overlooked. You had empathy that made some people feel seen and others feel threatened. Your existence was a mirror reflecting truth in environments built on denial. This pattern didn't start recently. It has followed you your entire life because the calling on your life has followed you your entire life. Chosen one. Heaven did not choose you the day you succeeded. Heaven chose you the day you were formed, and the jealousy you endured is not evidence of weakness, it is evidence of divine assignment. This is why no matter how isolated you felt, no matter how betrayed you were, no matter how many groups gathered against you, you never broke. You bent, but you never snapped. You wept, but you never lost hope. You questioned, but you never surrendered your soul. Because within you is a spirit forged in battles you did not start, but were chosen to overcome. And now, heaven is saying, the season of attack is ending, and the season of elevation is beginning. Chosen one. The downfall of those who targeted you is not happening because you wished it. It is happening because heaven has declared a spiritual reversal. Everything they meant for your harm is now turning into a stepping stone for your rise. Everything they whispered is becoming proof of your resilience. Every alliance they formed is becoming evidence of their insecurity. This is divine justice, not human revenge. Heaven does not destroy to satisfy emotion. Heaven destroys what threatens destiny. And those who attempted to limit you were never fighting your personality. They were fighting the purpose God placed inside of you. You have something they could not copy. You have strength they could not dismantle. You have clarity they could not distort. You have favor they could not intercept. This is why their attacks failed. This is why their alliances collapsed. This is why their jealousy only exposed them. When someone fights a chosen one, they are not fighting a person, they are fighting divine order. And divine order does not lose. Anointed one, heaven is not just vindicating you. Heaven is preparing to elevate you financially, spiritually, emotionally, and socially. The transfer coming to you is not random. It is tied to everything you endured, everything you survived, everything you refused to give up on. The pain you walked through became the seed of the abundance heaven is preparing to release. But before heaven releases anything significant, heaven always removes what cannot be trusted. That is why people walked away. That is why relationships shifted. That is why the jealous group exposed themselves. That is why the atmosphere grew tense. It wasn't personal, it was prophetic. Had heaven blessed you while they were close, they would have poisoned the blessing, claimed credit for the blessing, or attempted to destroy the blessing. Their removal was your protection. Chosen one. The next part of your journey requires lightness. Jealousy is too heavy. Betrayal is too heavy. False alliances are too heavy. Heaven has stripped these weights from your shoulders so you can rise without interference. And now something extraordinary is unfolding. You are entering a season where your name will be spoken in rooms you have never stepped into. Opportunities will emerge without your effort. Financial doors will open without your asking. Relationships with genuine souls will form without your forcing. Your spirit has graduated from surviving to receiving. Heaven is shifting the atmosphere around your life. The spiritual climate is clearing. The heaviness is lifting. The barriers are breaking. The jealous group that once felt intimidating will now look insignificant in the light of your elevation. Chosen one, you are stepping into supernatural momentum, the kind of blessing that leaves even you speechless, the kind that restores years, the kind that multiplies what was withheld, the kind that makes sense of every painful chapter. This is your season of divine compensation, divine exposure, divine promotion. And not one of the jealous souls who gathered against you can stop what heaven has already written. Chosen one, as we continue this journey, I need you to understand something that will reshape how you see your entire past. You were never at war with people. You were at war with the insecurity inside them. The individuals who gathered against you did not dislike you. They disliked what your presence awakened in them. Your strength revealed their fragility. Your peace exposed their unrest. Your purpose confronted their stagnation. And instead of growing, they chose to resent you. But heaven did not allow this without purpose. Every attack, every whisper, every moment of isolation served as spiritual training. You were being conditioned, strengthened, sharpened for a future that requires someone who has already survived storms, strong enough to destroy the average soul. You, anointed one, were being molded into a vessel that carries weight of influence, weight of purpose, weight of breakthrough. And now heaven is revealing the truth. Everything they tried to use against you is becoming the platform God will use to elevate you. Chosen one, consider how many times you doubted yourself because someone else projected their insecurity onto you. How many times did you silence your voice because others felt threatened when you spoke with clarity? How many times did you minimize your dreams because you sensed jealousy rising around you? These moments were not signs of weakness. They were signs of spiritual sensitivity. You were adapting to environments that were never designed to hold the fullness of your anointing. You were a giant living among people who preferred you small. But heaven never intended for you to stay small. Heaven intended for you to rise. This is why you always felt a disconnect with certain people. It wasn't that anything was wrong with you, it was that your spirit was too expansive for their limited understanding. You were dreaming on a level they couldn't grasp. You were healing in ways they were unwilling to explore. You were growing in directions they never had the courage to imagine. And jealousy always attacks what it cannot comprehend. Anointed One. Your journey has been marked by an invisible battle, the battle of spiritual misalignment. You kept trying to fit into circles that lacked the capacity to honor you. You kept trying to maintain peace with people who benefited from your silence. You kept trying to uplift souls who resented your resilience. But now, heaven is saying, enough. This separation was divine. The exposure was divine. The downfall of the jealous group is divine. Why? Because you are stepping into a season where purity of alignment matters more than the number of people around you. You do not need crowds. You need clarity. You do not need validation. You need vision. You do not need approval. You need atmosphere, an atmosphere that supports your calling, your growth, your spiritual expansion. The jealous group could never provide that atmosphere. They were too busy competing with you to learn from you, too busy envying you to honor you, too busy studying your life to build their own. And now, heaven has declared that their season in your story is over. Chosen One, your spirit has outgrown everything that once tried to confine it. You are rising into a place where the same people who doubted you will now witness the evidence of the hand of God on your life. And not because you fought for recognition, but because heaven is fighting for your revelation. The transfer coming into your life, financial, spiritual, emotional, is not just a blessing, it is a divine announcement, a proclamation that everything you endured has activated a supernatural reward. Heaven compensates those who remain faithful when surrounded by envy. Heaven promotes those who remain kind when surrounded by malice. Heaven protects those who remain authentic when surrounded by masks. You, Anointed One, have passed tests you didn't even know you were taking. And now, heaven answers. Chosen One. I want you to feel this deeply. You are entering a season where your silence will speak louder than your explanations, your elevation will speak louder than your defense, and your blessings will speak louder than their accusations. God is vindicating you through visibility, through abundance, through favor. Their downfall is not your victory, it is heaven's justice. And heaven is not elevating you out of revenge, heaven is elevating you out of alignment. You are stepping into the life you were always meant to live, a life that fear, jealousy, and sabotage cannot interrupt. The jealousy they carried was their burden, not yours. The envy they projected was their limitation, not yours. The alliances they formed were their downfall, not yours. But you, Chosen One, you are rising above it all, because what is anointed cannot be buried, and what is destined cannot be delayed. This is your season of expansion. This is your season of divine recompense. This is your season of supernatural promotion. Chosen One, now that heaven has stripped away the jealous voices and exposed the intentions of those who gathered against you, you are standing in front of something far greater than personal victory. You are standing at the threshold of divine unveiling, the moment when who you truly are becomes impossible to hide, impossible to dismiss, and impossible to deny. For so long you have been walking with power that others tried to convince you was weakness. You have been carrying wisdom people tried to redefine as arrogance. You have been shining with a light they tried to dim because it made their shadows uncomfortable. But heaven is declaring a new season over you. No one will be able to mislabel you anymore. For years, the jealous group tried to distort your image. They whispered lies. They exaggerated flaws. They projected their fears onto you. They warned others about you without ever understanding you. They built narratives based entirely on insecurity, not truth. And yet, even with their collective effort, they failed to alter the essence of who you are. That is because destiny is not shaped by public opinion. Destiny is shaped by God. Chosen. 1. You have to understand this. They misread your silence as weakness, but heaven saw your silence as obedience. They misread your humility as fragility, but heaven saw your humility as spiritual authority. They misread your isolation as defeat, but heaven saw your isolation as preparation. Heaven's perspective has always been different from theirs. Heaven looked at the same storms they cursed you for and said, "This one is being trained." Heaven looked at the same loneliness they mocked and said, "This one is being shaped." Heaven looked at the same betrayal they orchestrated and said, "This one is being set apart." Anointed. 1. Every chosen vessel walks through a season where everything around them looks like loss, but everything above them speaks of divine construction. You have been under construction spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and they mistook the scaffolding for brokenness. They thought you were falling apart when you were actually being rebuilt. They thought you were declining when you were quietly ascending. They thought they were watching your collapse when they were actually watching your transformation. This is why heaven did not let you fight them back. This is why heaven did not let your spirit become bitter. This is why heaven did not let your heart harden, because your next season requires a purity they were trying to destroy. Chosen 1. The purity of your heart is your greatest weapon. Not your intelligence, not your creativity, not your resilience, but your purity. It is the one thing the jealous group could never possess, never imitate, and never corrupt. Purity is expensive. It is forged in heartbreak. It is shaped through disappointment. It is revealed through betrayal. And you, despite everything you endured, still carry it. That is why heaven trusts you with what is coming next. And what is coming next is not small, is not delayed, is not fragile. It is supernatural. You are stepping into a season of divine financial transfer, strategic elevation, and breakthrough that will not only shift your life, but shift your entire inner landscape, your confidence, your expectations, your vision. Heaven is releasing to you what was withheld, what was delayed, and what was stolen. Not because you fought for it, but because you remained faithful for it. Chosen 1, think about how many times you wanted to give up, not because you were weak, but because the battle felt unfair. Think about how many times you cried quietly, wishing someone could understand the burden you carried alone. Think about how many times you questioned why certain people rose while you remained hidden. These moments were not signs of abandonment, they were signs of protection. Heaven hid you until the attacks exposed themselves. Heaven hid you until your discernment matured. Heaven hid you until the jealous group revealed their intentions. Heaven hid you until your heart grew strong enough to withstand visibility without losing humility. And now the hiding is over. Heaven is lifting the veil. Your name is being summoned in the spirit. Your gifts are being activated on a new level. Your finances are being aligned with divine purpose. Your steps are being guided toward opportunities tailor-made for your calling. This is not luck. This is orchestration. Heaven has been arranging, positioning, clearing, and preparing the moment you're about to step into. But here is the truth you must accept, Anointed One. You cannot carry everyone with you. Some people were meant only for the valley, not the mountain. Some were meant for the beginning, not the breakthrough. Some were meant to stretch you, not to celebrate you. If heaven had allowed the jealous group to remain close, they would have infected your future. They would have sabotaged your blessings. They would have drained your resources. They would have resented your elevation. The exposure was painful, but it saved your destiny. Chosen one, stand tall. Your story is shifting. Your spirit is rising. Your identity is solidifying. And heaven is now revealing the truth the jealous group tried to bury. You were always the leader. You were always the one set apart. You were always the threat to darkness. You were always the one destined to rise. The time has come for the world to see what heaven has always known. Chosen one. As we enter this next movement of your journey, heaven is quietly shifting your attention from the noise around you to the transformation unfolding within you. What you are experiencing is not merely the collapse of those who gathered against you. It is the unveiling of a deeper spiritual work that heaven has been shaping in silence. Your breakthrough is not beginning outside of you. It is beginning inside you. The divine has been strengthening your roots long before anyone saw your branches. For so long, the jealous voices around you believed they understood your limits. They assumed your stillness meant fragility. They assumed your silence meant weakness. They assumed your humility meant uncertainty. But heaven never evaluated you by surface appearances. Heaven judged you by root depth, not branch height. While your enemies were studying your posture, heaven was studying your foundation. And that foundation has now grown so deep that no storm, no rumor, no conspiracy can uproot what God has anchored. Chosen one. The truth is simple but powerful. They underestimated you because they never understood where your strength came from. They saw your humanity, but they never discerned your divinity. They saw your footsteps, but they never felt the wind of the Spirit that carried you. They saw the battles you endured, but they never saw the angels assigned to cover you. And because they judged you by outward appearance, they misread the internal transformation. Heaven was constructing a transformation shaped through fire, silence, and endurance. This is why you survived situations that were designed to break you. You endured environments that would have crushed someone without your spiritual root system. Their jealousy tried to weaken you, but heaven used that jealousy as the refining fire that strengthened your discernment. You began to see beyond faces. You began to recognize intentions. You began to feel spiritual shifts before they manifested. This sensitivity was not born from comfort, it was born from warfare. Heavenly wisdom often emerges from earthly wounds. And now something sacred is happening. You are no longer attached to what you used to chase. The opinions that once influenced you no longer carry weight. The rooms you tried to fit into no longer feel aligned. The people you thought you needed no longer have access to your spirit. Your soul has matured, your vision has expanded, your boundaries have strengthened, and this is the clearest sign that heaven has been reshaping you from the inside out. Chosen one. Heaven is declaring that you are now ready for what was once too heavy to carry. You are ready for the divine financial transfer, ready for elevation, ready for influence that will not corrupt your character, ready for blessings that will not overtake your identity. Heaven withheld certain breakthroughs, not because you were unworthy, but because you were still becoming. Now, spiritually and emotionally, you have arrived at a place where heaven can trust you with what is coming next. Yet, here is a deeper truth. As heaven elevates you, you must also release the weight of old wounds. The resentment, the quiet anger, the leftover ache, these cannot come with you into your next season. Forgiveness is not something you do for them. Forgiveness is something you do for heaven to move freely through you. The divine transfer cannot pour into a heart that is still holding on to spiritual residue. Your ability to forgive, even silently, is your final act of preparation. But understand this clearly, forgiveness does not mean re-entry. Some people were removed for protection, not punishment. Some doors were closed because the rooms were too small for your calling. Some relationships fell apart because their presence would have contaminated your blessing. Heaven knows who can handle the next version of you and who cannot. In this season, your story becomes your strength. Your wounds become wisdom. Your scars become instruction. Someone who is still in their valley will one day look to you as the proof that survival is possible. You will not speak from theory, but from testimony. You will guide others not as someone untouched by pain, but as someone who walked through jealousy, betrayal, misunderstanding, and spiritual warfare, and still rose. Chosen one. The more heaven elevates you, the more obvious it becomes that their jealousy was the catalyst, not the curse. They were the sharpening stone that strengthened your discernment. They were the pressure that pushed you into self-awareness. They were the mirror that revealed what needed to be pruned. And once their purpose was complete, heaven removed them. What you are stepping into now is sacred timing alignment, cleansed of distraction doors, free from contamination opportunities, no longer delayed by hidden hands. Heaven is saying that this is your moment of clarity, maturity, and spiritual authority. You have walked through darkness without losing light. You have walked through storms without losing direction. You have walked through envy without losing integrity. And now heaven is ready to reward you openly for what you endured privately. Chosen one, as heaven continues unveiling the deeper layers of your journey, something sacred is becoming clear. The battle around you was never just about people, it was about who you were becoming. While the jealous group fixated on tearing you down, heaven was quietly lifting you into a higher realm of discernment, maturity, and spiritual authority. They misunderstood your silence, your distance, your gentleness, but heaven understood it perfectly. Heaven saw a vessel being refined, not a soul being broken. The truth is, they underestimated you because they only looked at your surface. They saw the quietness, but not the strength beneath it. They saw the isolation, but not the divine protection surrounding it. They saw the tears, but not the endurance being built through them. They saw the delay, but never sensed the timing. Heaven was using every moment to deepen your roots, so your elevation could stand without collapsing. They judged you by branches. Heaven strengthened your roots. Chosen one, everything about you has changed. Your spirit is sharper, your boundaries are clearer, your heart is wiser. You no longer tolerate what drains you, and you no longer chase what does not carry God's fingerprint. That shift is not accidental, it is the evidence of inner transformation. Heaven matured you through the very jealousy meant to break you. You learned to see through masks, to feel intentions before words, to recognize spiritual danger before it appeared. That is growth born from fire, and few souls are ever entrusted with this level of refinement. And now heaven is saying, you are ready, ready for elevation, ready for divine financial transfer, ready for spiritual promotion without losing your purity. But before breakthrough comes full release, your heart must let go of the residue of betrayal. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness is not permission, it is spiritual untethering. It ensures nothing from the past contaminates what heaven is giving you next. When you release them, heaven releases more to you. Chosen one, your story is becoming a living testimony. Your resilience, your endurance, your purity, these are the reasons heaven trusts you with more. What was meant to destroy you has positioned you. What was meant to silence you has awakened you. What was meant to delay you has aligned you with divine timing. The jealous group did not derail your destiny. They prepared you for it. You survived. You grew. You became. And now heaven is ready to reward you openly. Chosen one, as we come to the close of this message, let your spirit rest in the truth heaven has revealed today. You were never the one sinking. You were the one being lifted. Every jealous whisper, every plotted trap, every alliance formed in darkness has only testified to the light you carry. And now heaven is declaring over you that the transfer has already begun. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the exact divine hour where what was withheld is released, what was delayed is accelerated, and what was stolen is returned in greater measure. Anointed one, step into this next season with reverence. You are not walking into ordinary days. You are walking into appointed days, days where heaven goes before you, days where favor surrounds you, days where your name is spoken in rooms you have not yet entered. The downfall of those who targeted you is not your victory, it is your confirmation. It proves you were always chosen, always protected, always set apart. May clarity fill your mind. May strength rise in your spirit. May peace guard your steps, and may every door aligned with your purpose open without resistance. If this word touched you, chosen one, feel free to share your agreement in the comments so it may echo in the spiritual realm. And if you wish to stay connected to this flow of prophetic truth, you are welcome to subscribe and walk this journey with us. Go in strength, go in light, go in certainty. Your story is shifting, and heaven is not finished with you yet.